Welcome to the Laugh the Monkey Music Show. Today we have JT LOUX on. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Sean.
Good to have you. And JT is also the singer and frontman of the band JT LOUX. So luck, you ended up in the same band. So whoever hasn't heard, there's a huge Tesla connection. We'll touch on it for 2 seconds. But you stand out on your own as an artist. You know, and I just want to. That's really what we're going to take away is that you are your own artist. You say your own sound. And maybe I can do justice in that show. You were, I know your parents were like in the Tesla love song video. They did a banner, correct, right? So
Yeah.
From there, you just touch upon your quick little Tesla thing, so we can hop into you.
Yeah. So we kind of met when I was about 18 years old is when we started becoming real good friends. I had just graduated high school. This is about almost 3 years ago, and you know, he offered me a job on his ranch to work on his property, and you know, through that I got to know him a little bit better. Then he started recording my old band, and I would trade studio time for that. And then when that old band fell through, he encouraged me to start singing because I'd never sang before. And so I've been singing for about a year and a half now, and the journey of singing and playing at the same time has been such a fun thing to explore, coming from the realm of just being a guitar player my whole life. It allowed me to open so many doors to where I could write my own songs, and now I can go anywhere and perform the songs that I write, and it's such a good feeling to have.
It's incredible because, you know, the anomaly of your age, but the fact that, you know, being a singer and a songwriter is something. Some people spend their whole life trying to find their voice, not just, you know, I'm not gonna air quote you, but you know what I'm saying, to find your voice as a singer or a sound or something, and you've kind of found it. You're really a really interesting spot. You know what I mean? You have a really good voice, and it's very natural, and it feels like it's a voice you've been singing your whole life with. So the fact that you're like, about a year is really, it's really, you got a lot of really great gifts in front of you right now, and a really great career ahead of you, because you have a sound, you have you're, you know, good songwriter. Your songs and your album, it's nice and tight too. 31 minutes, 8 songs, nice and tight.
Yeah, man, we spent a lot of time on the record, and you know, throughout all of the quarantine of 2020 is when I really I sat down and worked on my voice a lot, and I had so much time because there was nothing going on. And so we had a lot of time to kind of just hone our craft, and I figured out who I wanted to be. I went through months of not knowing what I wanted to sound like, and I went through a lot of phases and everything, and then I ended up at what the record was right at the perfect time. And a lot of those tracks, you know, were written last summer, but just kind of like crafted throughout the fall. And then earlier this year is when we recorded everything, and we recorded everything live in the room without a click track. And just like a lot of the great albums of the 70s and everything, we were trying to figure out why a lot of things sounded so robotic today. And it's because everything's on a grid, you know, everything's very strict. And so we tried to make it more loose, you know, and just make it feel a little bit more flow and just have like that magical feel to it.
Yeah, I think it sounds great. I think it's one of the things I noticed about the album itself. I'm a bigger fan of the older style because I'm a fan of analog music. The sound, the feel, the warmth, it does feel like you're in the same room. It's a great sound. Frank's actually done a great job with his production. I mean, you guys are, his experience of knowing what a good live rock band sounds like with his rock and his southern and his solo stuff. So he's really gotten that down tight. So it really allows the presentation of your voice and the instruments and the songs to stand out. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the production can change everything. But it doesn't. It actually, his production is allowing you guys a foundation to be your best.
Yeah, definitely. He guided us through a lot of the songwriting process. You know, most of these songs on this record, I brought pretty much how they are now on the record, just with a couple different changes. A lot of things that he would add is like more stabbiness in the guitars and staccato-ness and more rock. Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of my songs I wrote on an acoustic guitar, just sitting with my voice, and so naturally when you bring it to the electric guitar and the rest of the band and Frank's in the room, it tends to be a lot more. It tends to get a lot more rock.
Mhm.
At the table with his experience was knowing where to place the right parts and song arrangement is what he really
Mhm.
taught us.
Well, these are songs that are going to stand the test of time. It's a really good, like, it really feels like a really good rock record. And that's what really stood out. And I reached out to you for this because I was like, wow, this is really a standalone rock album, which is really great. I hope Frank's telling you like things like, don't sign away your rights, keep your songwriting stuff. I hope
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
whispering in your ear. He probably has so much knowledge about for a young artist to not make pitfalls in the industry that you need a big
yeah,
notebook next to you.
definitely. Yeah, he's definitely given us advice about the business aspect too, and just making sure that we make sure we don't sign anything without looking at it. So on top of the songwriting and everything, he's a really good friend too, who looks out for us on a personal level as well.
That's good. And so, but beyond, I mean, that part, I mean, let's just talk about you and band as a sound. I mean, you guys don't sound like Tesla. You're not a comparative. You're just another rock band that could play with Tesla. And you probably will, or with him on different levels. You don't sound like him. You're not emulating him. You don't have. He has his own good. He actually has his own good rock voice too, as a singer himself. He's his own, a standalone performer. But you have your own tone. You have a really nice, warm voice. What's really interesting is so a lot of your songs are kind of like a rocky, bluesy kind of feel. But then the album, you have two last songs that really, I feel like they're the most uh, dynamically different. You
Yeah,
agree with me or not? Love That actually feels like it could almost be your crossover. You could throw it there like a crossover on like pop radio. Like I could hear like the other singer songwriters out there hitting that song. That's a good thing too. Be that
yeah.
flexible as a songwriter. And then Sick and Twisted, you just totally go the other way. You got to go really dark and kind of a heavy rock. It's really kind of interesting how those songs are so different than the rest, and they're right next to each other at the end.
Yeah, no, it's funny because like I tend to write very diverse types of music, and then a lot of them get scrapped because we kind of want to go for it with a certain theme throughout the whole record and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but with those songs, I felt like they were really good and promising. So and I like Sick and Twisted as an end because it's just like a big punch in the face. And
I think,
so
yeah, it's great. The song breakdown too, the way you have it set up is a good thing too. That's always important on an album,
yeah,
the flow.
definitely. Definitely. I think we spent a lot of time on making sure that the track order was in the right, in our opinion, in the right um, order and everything, and how it flowed. I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd, and although our record doesn't flow into each song like they do, I really admire the thought and carefulness
Mm-hmm.
into thinking about every single track and how they correspond with each other. And Loved It and Sick and Twisted are very, very contrasting for sure. But I just felt like that contrastiness kind of felt good going back to back at the end as like
I
a
totally feel like
refreshment.
I actually agree with you. I mean, I always pay attention to that kind of stuff, and you're duly noted. I'm like, it's kind of a jamming album. You can be hang out, whatever, and then you get to, and you get the roses. Then also love that you kind of like I just sing, and also then Sick and Twisted. You're like put the brakes on, and you're going again. It's like it's really a great way to kind of just take it. It's a full piece, beginning to end. So Wait So Long was your first single, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna do more singles? You gonna break them? Are you touring? Like, what's the plan now to promote this to work it?
Yeah, so we're gonna work on. We got a couple more like production type stuff coming. We're gonna do a couple live videos and a couple more music videos for some of the songs off the album. And now that things are opening back up, we're gonna look to start doing some more shows and getting on the road with some bigger acts. And we got a lot of things in the works right now. So um, now that everything's looking like it's gonna open and stay open, we're excited to start branching out to the wider audience of outside of our circle that we have now.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I know you're the oldest of the band. You're 21. Is everyone else like 20, right?
Yeah, the drummer's 20, but the bass player's 22. I'm 21.
I see you guys drinking wine in the video. I hope it's props. Just gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm just busting on you. It's a fun video. I really looking forward to seeing more. Do you guys have any like any firm plans of like touring, like any shows coming up? Type of where people can look for you. Where can they kind of
Yeah, so we have a website, jtlux.com. That's jtlous.com, and you can find all our merch and everything on there, as well as updates on our live shows. We got a couple things we're going to be announcing very soon.
Okay, cool.
So but stuff that I can't quite talk about yet, but we're excited about it. And for now, we have 2 music videos out and some live videos. We did one of our songs featuring Frank Hannon on guitar that isn't on the album, but it is a live video on our YouTube channel, JT Lux, called The Eagle Live.
Yeah, Eagle, yep.
I like that. So that's that. You guys can go check that out. And we do have all this different types of merchandise, shirts, mugs, and everything. So if you guys are into supporting new bands, you can check us out on jtlux.com.
So I want to thank you for being on the show today. It's a quick little blurb, just enough for the fans to get a taste. This is enough, because what they should do now is go and listen to the album and then go to the website.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
No problem, man. All right, you take care. Have a good day, man. All right.
Have a good one.
See you soon. All right, bye.